Okay, great. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. I know I just introduced myself briefly, but I'll introduce myself a little more in depth right now. My name's Jillian Fisher, and I use she, her pronouns, and I'm an academic advisor at North Seattle College. And I will let Paula introduce again.
Yeah, I am so happy to see so many people here in this room and to be able to present what opportunities we have available at the Seattle colleges for the arts. So my name is Paula Rebsom. I'm full-time faculty and I'm at the North Campus. I primarily teach in the sculpture program. But as full-time, I have to teach a variety of classes. So I'm doing sculpture, 3D design, 2D design, and then we also offer an art business class, which is a class I never had as a student and really would have found a lot of value in it. So I'm so glad we get to offer that to our students as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will just say that Paula and I don't need this to be very, formal. We do have some slides that we'd like to share with you all, and we will share those, but please don't feel like you can't interrupt us at any point that you have questions. We really want to give you the information that you want. So this doesn't need to be very formal. If you do have a question, feel free to pop it into the chat, or you can raise your hand in the reactions in Zoom, or you're just welcome to unmute yourself if you want to do that as well, whatever works best for you. So I am now going to share my screen and hopefully you are seeing. And I do see a hand. Yeah, I think I don't know how to, hopefully it's Sumathi. I'm sorry if I'm not saying it correct.
Yes, sorry. So I have a question. I'm looking into animation for my son. Is this the place or I have to go to graphic design?
It just kind of depends on what your son wants to do and where they want to go. So in this session, we're talking about the general Associate of Arts degree and the Associate of Fine Arts degree, which students could do either one of those and get into animation depending on where they want to transfer. The degrees that we're going to be talking about today, Paula and I, are both they're a little broader. So students are going to have exposure to some general education classes, as well as a variety of mediums of art. The graphic design program, from my understanding, which is at Seattle Central, which is in another breakout room, is much more specific. It's an applied science degree, which means it's very focused on graphic design. So I think either one would be helpful. Paula, I don't know if you want to jump in with that as well.
I think it would also have to depend on where you would think that your child would be transferring with this degree. The fine arts programs are great for students to build portfolios. Primarily, you're getting hands-on skills. There are some opportunities to work with the digital arts. We have a digital arts class at North, and I believe they do at Central. I'm not 100% sure. So they could have some experience learning some programs, but what we would offer is really sort of the hands-on foundation and the building of the portfolio, which then could transfer to a school that focuses more specifically on animation.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And you're also welcome to bounce back and forth. I mean, you could be with us and then pop into the other room and come back and forth.
Yeah, so basically I'll just quickly tell you, I don't want to take up your time. My son is a special needs son, and then he is doing privately some animation courses. So his private teacher told us to sign up for some associate degree where they offer some animation baseline courses. So he get credits for it. So that's what I'm looking for. So I hope this is the place. It says associate degree, so I don't know.
Yeah, they're both associate degrees. It's just the graphic design one that they're talking about in the other room is just much more kind of specific and focused. Okay. These two degrees, there's a variety of classes that students could take. It's a little bit more flexible.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks so much for asking your question. Well, we already introduced ourselves and said what we're here to talk about, so I will go to the next slide. And just when this is just sort of like, what is arts design and graphics? And so again, this is an area of study. So Chris was talking about an area of study. So arts design and graphics is an area of study at any of the colleges in the Seattle Colleges District. So North, South, and Central, although we do offer some variety of what we offer at each of the campuses. And so this is just really about, you know, being able to do some studio art, some, like as Paul's saying, a lot of hands-on studio work and practice in a variety of mediums. So in this session, we'll kind of talk about two different degree options. And so the first one that we'll talk about is the General Associate of Arts degree, or the AADTA. So DTA, as you can see on there, stands for Direct Transfer Agreement. It doesn't mean you get admissions guaranteed to a university, but it means that they should take your credit and consider you as a junior. This degree is offered at all three Seattle colleges, so North, South, and Central. This degree is very, very flexible and very broad. So students can definitely do the Associate of Arts degree for an art major, whether that's a studio art major. So, you know, maybe I want to major in painting or drawing or sculpture, something like that, or art history. So it could also work for art history. This is also a degree, though, the Associate of Arts degree. Students take this degree to also major in the other arts and humanities and social sciences. So maybe things like English or psychology or communications or political science. It's the most flexible of any of the degrees, because students can do that degree for lots of different majors that they may want to transfer to university and study. So this degree is 90 credits. Most of the associate degrees are 90 credits. And it will include some general education classes. So you're going to need to do, if you would choose to do this degree, some English, some math, some arts and humanities, some social science, some science. But again, you have a lot of freedom. And on this slide, you can see within this degree, students can do a maximum of 40 credits, or that's the equivalent of 8 classes of art classes. So nearly half of the degree can be art classes. All the other classes will be general education classes to kind of meet those general education requirements at the university. And this, I know this is very small, but this sort of gives you a little taste, and you can find these on the web pages, and I can put in some links later if you want. So again, it's our most general broad transfer degree. And you can just sort of see you have like requirements for different sections. But again, because there's so much flexibility, students can still fit in. Almost half of this degree can be specifically for art classes. So again, that could be, you know, I want to study painting, I want to study art history, I want to study digital and graphic art, I want to study drawing, printmaking, any of those mediums. And again, this is at all 3 colleges in the Seattle Colleges District. The other degree, and this is only offered at North Seattle, is our Associate of Fine Arts degree, or the AFA. And this is really designed for students that, you know, really like want to do the bulk of their time doing studio art classes. You know, they are really intending to maybe transfer to an art school or a general university for a studio art major. And some students do this degree and don't transfer right away and kind of go out and start doing their own work and be creators, which is also awesome. This degree, though, is quite different than the General Associate of Arts degree. It is 90 credits like that other degree, but there are only 20 credits for 4 classes that are not art classes. So just a few general education classes, an English class, a computation class, 1 social science, and 1 science. And then all the rest of your classes are art classes, studio art classes, almost all studio art classes, with a few that are non-studio. So Paula mentioned a class called Art Business, which is a awesome class. It's not a studio class. Maybe Paula can talk about that a little bit, and a couple art histories. Paula, art business is really unique. So I wonder if you want to share a little bit about that class.
Yeah, the class is really unique, and it's really sort of tailored to provide students with an opportunity to really broaden their understanding of what kinds of careers are available in the arts. It's no longer just, I'm going to become an artist and show at a gallery and pay my bills doing that. There are so many different paths that artists are taking these days. So we kind of talk a lot about the different opportunities that are out there, where to find them, and how to prepare yourself best to qualify for those different kinds of jobs available in the arts. And the other thing that we cover is portfolio development. So how to document your work properly for images. Although we primarily are working with the physical art, most of the time your work is seen on a screen. And so we have to do a really good job of learning how to document and photograph and present our work. We have to learn how to write about our work, and how to put together a resume, and how to apply for grants, how to apply for artist residencies, and just also how to read applications to identify what you might qualify for or not qualify for. So there are many kinds of topics that we sort of discuss. It's not just like, make a business plan and here's how to do the business part of it. It's sort of like giving you a broad taste of everything that is available. And again, it's something that most students don't have access to. And I went all the way through graduate school and didn't have access to this. So it's great that we offer that. Students leave really feeling much more prepared and confident with what they are pursuing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Paula. That brings up one of the things that is part of our AFA degree at North is students will do a portfolio to finish program along with the 90 credits. And you'll designate and work with art faculty to be on your portfolio review committee. And then you've got this amazing tangible item to take with you, whether it's being used to apply to art schools or programs or trying to get into shows or galleries or things like that. It's a really great resource to have when you're done with the program. Additionally, about this program, one thing that I think is really cool about the AFA is that students will take a really broad foundation of a variety of mediums of art. So you'll get a really good taste of a whole bunch of different mediums and a really nice foundation. And then you'll be asked to take 3 quarters or 3 levels of at least one medium of your choice. Some students do more than one medium. So it's just like really great foundation, and then you get to dig deeper and deeper into something that you're really passionate about. And the mediums that we offer, there's a lot, but there's drawing, painting, printmaking, digital and graphic art, digital photography, sculpture, ceramics, jewelry design. I'm probably forgetting one. Let me know, Paula, if I'm forgetting one.
I think that was, yeah.
I think I got them. Yeah. And then I would also say at North, I think Chris mentioned this, we do have a jewelry design program, which is very rare and unique. And students can do just a certificate of jewelry design, or they can do a certificate of jewelry design embedded within the full AFA. And we also have a certificate of fine art, which students can choose to just do the certificate, or if they do the full AFA, they automatically get the certificate. And I will say we do have some students that combine the AFA and the AADTA, or like the certificate of fine art into the AADTA. So you can do some mixing and matching if you meet with an advisor early enough to make sure you can fit everything in. And this is just a quick at a glance what is required for the AFA degree. Again, we're not going to go into that much detail, but you get some, a broad base of studio classes. You get your foundation, you get to dig deep into 1 or 2 mediums of your choice, a few gen ed classes, things like that. And then I will lastly just show, as I was mentioning, we do at North only have a certificate of jewelry design program. So the jewelry is just at North as well. And that's mainly jewelry classes with a few others, again, to get a nice foundation for your practice and what you're going to be working on. And I'm going to turn it over to Paula to first talk a little bit about the galleries available in the district.
Yeah, so we have 3 slides here that will show just a very small sample of what the gallery spaces might look like or the kind of work that they show. But really, each campus has its own unique gallery space, and each one has a gallery coordinator who curates exhibitions. And they're bringing in not only local artists, but artists from across the region and sometimes even from across the United States to show their work within these spaces. And this is really quite amazing because you have access to art on campus. You don't have to, I mean, although we encourage you to go out and, visit galleries and alternative art spaces, we also love that we get to bring that to our students right on campus. So each campus has its own unique programming. They bring in a variety of shows throughout the year, depends. Usually they're about a month to a month and a half long for the exhibition. They're free to attend. They're open for students and faculty and staff, and sometimes faculty will coordinate conversations around the shows that are happening. They're open for the public to attend as well. And then often there's also guest lectures that accompany the shows. So they'll invite an artist that's either part of the show or that's making work similar to the theme and invite them to come talk. They used to be in person, but now many of them are offered via Zoom. We found much larger audience attendance. So I bet we'll continue to do some of that. So that's always really fantastic too, is when you can not only see the art, but hear the artists talk about their ideas, their thoughts, their processes. And often they know we have a student-based audience. And so they'll talk about their experience as a student and sort of like where they started from to where they are now.
Awesome. Thanks, Paula. I'm also going to ask you to just talk a little bit about, we have several slides of student work.
Yeah, so well, this one happened to just be a photograph of the sculpture studio that's at North, and we have some students working on some ceramic busts in this particular class, and they make molds of them, etc. So we do a variety of different projects within each classroom, and each faculty is actually given a lot of freedom in terms of what we teach, and so that's really great in that you'll get a very independent, not sort of like textbook-based education. You're really sort of learning from your faculty and from your instructors. So this is a variety of student work. You can see the name of the student and which campus that they were on primarily when they made that work. So you can see that there is drawing and collage, there's ceramic-based work, painting. It looks like the middle one is a digital art piece, and actually the one on the bottom left is also digital art. So there are students that are working with a variety of those different mediums, from hands-on to more digital. I think there's another slide here. So you can see some students in action. So sometimes students are working off of visual photographs. We also do a lot of at North, we have live models that will come and still lives. We have a reference for the jewelry program, that really beautiful piece that Cass had made, some printmaking. Bottom left, we have a really unique program also at North. I shouldn't say it's a program, but a class that's offered every 2 years. It's a mural arts class. So we find an artist to design a mural, and then students actually paint that mural and learn about the process of designing, proposing, and executing a mural. And then we have, again, some more digital art and painting on the middle and bottom right.
I always see these and I'm like, there's so many talented students across the district. It's amazing.
It's really amazing to see the work that students are making within our programs. And some of these students do come with prior experience, but a lot of them are sort of brand new students. And within that sort of very short time frame of the 2 years that we work with them, they really excel within their medium. We have very talented instructors that know how to sort of cater the learning opportunities for students.
And this is Go ahead, Paula.
Well, so, art is very visual. And so most of the art programs are going to have different ways of connecting with them via social media. So you can see on Facebook that the North Seattle College Gallery is there, as well as the South Seattle College Gallery. Most of them are also on Instagram. So the North Seattle College Art Department has an Instagram, the Art Gallery does, South Seattle College, and the South Seattle College Gallery. There also are some, I'm sorry, I got to slow down. Also are some YouTube channels. So the North Seattle College Visiting Artist Lecture is housed there, so you can go and watch those. Same with Central and South. And the Instagram pages would be a really great place to go to look to see the kinds of work that students are making, the kinds of activities that students are engaging on in the various campuses, and just to kind of get a feel for some of the opportunities that are available.
Yes, and we have students that transfer all over to, excuse me, this is not a comprehensive list. This is just some places, but more traditional schools like University of Washington or specific art schools like California College of the Arts. We have people transferring to a variety of places. But Paula, it would be great if you could talk a little bit too about some of the career opportunities or some of the things that that maybe some specific alumni students are doing after their time at one of the Seattle colleges.
Yeah, so the great thing about the transfer degrees, but also the AFA degree, is that there are many students that do go on and transfer into the arts colleges or sort of more traditional four-year universities. There are lots of students that sort of end their degree or at the AFA, they have the solid portfolio and foundation from which they build from. So we've had several students also that haven't just transferred to the four-year program, but we have some students that come in, complete the AFA portfolio, they have a prior undergrad degree and they go straight to graduate school. And that's been really amazing to also see. Our students are starting their own small businesses. They are showing in galleries or creating opportunities to show in alternative spaces. They're creating collectives and sort of starting movements to create more accessibility within the arts. They're working as studio assistants for other artists. And sort of, yeah, many other different areas that our students and alumni enter into. And yeah, the career opportunities, that's the sort of list there of the more traditional ones. And then, as I said, there are sort of like other opportunities that we wouldn't even sort of think about or imagine. Artists are very inventive and great problem solvers, and we find niches where things are needed and we fill in those gaps. So.
Absolutely. So that's the information that Paula and I wanted to share with you all. You can see our emails on here. You're welcome to reach out after this if you would like to do that for anything. But right now, we just would love to see what questions you have. And I'm just going to stop sharing just so it's easier to kind of see everybody. But I will pop our emails into the chat. But if anybody has questions, please ask us. Again, you can unmute yourself or you can put it into the chat, whatever works best for you. And we'll do our best to answer it. And if we don't know, then we'll at least try to get you the information.
And thanks for sticking with us for so long. It's nice to come back from the shared screen and see that you're still here.
Yeah. Oh, and then Paula, Tommy just put in a question about 3D. Do you would like to answer that? That's your wheelhouse.
Let me see what I can see.
Does that include 3D arts as well?
Does what include 3D arts?
I think probably just our programs.
Oh, it absolutely does. Yeah. So you're going to find that different campuses have different levels of sort of what they offer for 3D arts. So at Central, they offer primarily ceramics for their three-dimensional offerings. They do have a sculpture class, but it's stacked with ceramics. So you're taking sculpture at the same time as ceramics. North Seattle College is the only program that offers sculpture as a standalone class. And we offer that as a level 1, 2, and 3. Central does not offer ceramics. They do have a 3D design class that's also stacked with a 2D and a 2D class. So I think that North really has the most robust 3D arts program. It also, because it has the jewelry program, I have a lot of students who are interested in sculpture, and they end up doing some of my sculpture classes. They go into the ceramics program, and then they might go over into jewelry because they have a small metals class or casting class that's there. So you can kind of get a really interesting variety of experiences in three-dimensional arts, depending on which campus you choose and which coursework that you choose.
Mhm.
Does
Yeah.
that answer your question, Tommy, or do you have something more specific you're thinking about? That's
Sounds
good.
like you
All right.
got it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so students have opportunity to focus on 2D or 3D or dabble in both, right? Definitely can do both. I'll answer Sumathi's question, and then Paula, I'll let you answer Joseph's. And the question was, do we have support for kids with disabilities? Yeah, each of the campuses has a disability services office where students can meet with the disability services coordinator and find out what kind of accommodations they may qualify for. And then the disability support staff would help the student connect with their instructors about how to access those accommodations. And it's really different for each student depending on what they need and what level of support. But yes, we all do have resources for that. And what I will do is actually while Paula is answering the next question, I will just put the links to each of the disability services offices for each campus into the chat.
Yeah, and just to sort of add to that, and then I'll get to Joseph's question, you know, it's the disability services is really important. It's sort of the way that we can sort of formalize our accommodations for students, but it also is really about students communicating their needs to the faculty members as well. And once we sort of have that channel of communication, then you'll find that usually faculty are pretty open for sort of accommodating and meeting students with different needs. Okay, so Jillian's putting those in the chat. Regarding the question for Joseph, does the sculpture class include figure sculpture? So it does not include sort of traditional figure sculpture. I don't have a model that's coming, or we're not working off of images and sort of working on the full figure. There are different projects incorporated that do include references to the figure. So sometimes we make large scale cardboard portraits. You saw the slide of students working on a ceramic portrait. So we do work on some of that kind of facial proportions and working with that. We also do lots of casting projects where we use alginate to cast hands or to cast feet. And then we often are sort of using that as a springboard for a different material or a different process to sort of cut into or carve into. So I wouldn't say that I have traditional figure sculpture in any of the levels, but there are hints of it that are embedded in assignments throughout the quarter. Even our figure drawing class, which is drawing 2 and drawing 3, will have the opportunity to learn sort of traditional figure drawing, but then she also kind of stretches you to sort of think about various ways that you can use that foundation in a more contemporary practice.
Thanks, Paula. I'm going to answer you. I'm sorry if I'm not saying your names correctly. I'm trying my best. Yu Ying was saying that they signed up for Central and not sure if they also want to sign up for North. You're more than welcome to apply and just have it there. And even if you decide not to take classes, you can just do that. And so to take classes at any of the other campuses, you do have to apply to that other campus just so that you are active in the system. You'll have the same student ID number, but you need to be activated into our system. And some students might start off at, North, South, or Central, and then transfer to one of the other campuses for a variety of reasons, which is totally fine. Some students will stay at their campus and then just take classes at another campus. So say, for example, you were at Central and you wanted to take some jewelry classes because that's only offered at North. you could still complete your degree at Central and take some classes at North if you wanted, or, you know, vice versa anywhere across the district. So it doesn't harm you. The applications are free. You can go ahead and apply and decide later if you're not sure right now. Hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, go Paula.
I might even suggest, you know, people consider different campuses for different reasons. Some of it has to do with location and accessibility. And the three campuses do have very different feels from one another. The Central campus really, you know, sort of is located in, oh no, the district popped my, like, just
Capitol Hill.
It's in Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's much more busy, and there's a sort of, just a lot kind of more happening around the campus, whereas the North and the South campuses they're not remote. There's still lots of stuff that's happening. And we're so excited that the light rail has come to North Seattle College, but they definitely have different feels to them as campuses. So you might also think about whether you'll primarily be taking classes online or in person, or hybrid. And those are sort of still in fluctuation at this point. But, you know, I think that thinking about accessibility, like how likely you'll be able to make it to the campus at Central versus North versus South, really would play an important role. They did mention there are some of those open houses that are at the start, of this meeting. And it might be good to try to attend one or two or three of those. But you also can come to the campus and just walk around on your own as well, just sort of a self-guided tour, and see what it feels like for you.
And you can also, if you want to explore another thing too that you can do is, you're welcome to schedule an advising appointment. So you don't have to be a student to meet with an advisor. So, you know, if you're Yu-Ying, if you're at Central and you want to know a little bit more about North and maybe like dig into the programs for the classes and like when they're usually offered, you could schedule an appointment with me and we could talk about it. And then that also might help you form a decision as well. So you definitely can explore lots of ways, physically explore, like getting on campus, like Paula said, meet with an advisor, you know, check out the galleries, check out the web pages, you know, lots of things to kind of get a taste and a feel.
I've seen, sorry.
Yeah,
Were you gonna
go ahead.
Okay, so for previously you mentioned about the 90 credit thing. Is that gonna be like combined if I like take a class at like Central and like at North, or is that like two different like credits that I need?
Yeah, that's a great follow-up question. Thank you so much for asking that. So what we would do is wherever you wanted to finish your degree, you would just transfer the credits from the one campus over to the other. So you wouldn't, it's not like you would have to do 90 credits only at one place and then another 90 credits or something. So say that you were at Seattle Central and you took 15 credits at North, you took 3 classes at North, then you would just transfer the credits from North over to your degree at Seattle Central. So we would combine them. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to request it, but you just request it and then we'll transfer the credits from one campus over to the other. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and then a follow-up is that like how many classes can I take per like semester or like per year?
Okay, that's a great question. Yes, so at all 3 of the campuses, we do a quarter system. So we have our traditional quarters, which are fall, winter, and spring, and those are about 11 weeks long. And then we have a summer quarter, which is 8 weeks long. To be considered full-time, students need to be taking at least 12 credits per quarter, which is 3 classes. But most of our classes are 5 credits per quarter. So most full-time students are taking 3 classes for 15 credits. Without getting any special permission, students can take up to 20 credits or 4 classes on their own. If they want to take more than 4 classes, which would be very, very, very busy, but if you wanted to do that, you would have to get special permission to take more than 20 credits.
That's kind of a lot to take in, but okay.
Yeah, and you can, yeah, I'll put that into the chat too. I'll kind of put those numbers. I know it's a lot of numbers in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thanks for asking your question. And Paula, do you want to take Tommy's question about digital art at North?
Yeah, and I would say that I remember being a student and being totally just lost in what was going on. What is an AA? What are all the things? The most important thing is just as you're here and you're asking the questions and knowing that we're here to answer those questions. And I'm not an advisor, but I know enough to say if you ask me a question that I'll have to go and reach out to someone else. So in terms of digital art, we do offer digital arts classes. Again, there are a couple offerings. There's like a level 1, 2, and 3 within each of our different departments, such as photography and sculpture and painting and printmaking, et cetera. So digital art also has that. So you'd have a series of different classes that you could move through within the digital arts. I did put in the chat more specifics on the digital art pathway. I also could drop one in for sort of art in general at North. We probably should be dropping them in for Central and South, but I don't have those links. So that would be, now I'm getting like multiple screens. That would be my answer for that question. Oh, you're welcome. Okay. Amy, is that Amy or Ami? Thank you for your compliment about the sculptures. And you did say that you think that Jillian's answer might have worked for you, but I'm not sure if sewing actually qualifies as one of our art transfers, or maybe that would have to be an exception.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Sorry, I was trying to type an answer and look at the chat at the same time. So sewing class would not count for the AFA degree requirements unless you got a special exception. They could potentially
give some context. All right, welcome back, everybody.